What's going on, guys? Excuse the video, it's probably not the best quality, but I gotta work with what I got. It's a cell phone camera and it's nighttime, so I'm limited to lighting. To show the mount ties, this is gonna be a demo video, how they work, and I'm gonna show you how to put them on a slip float. I'm gonna show you how to put them on a peg float for a Santee Cooper rig. And where'd it go? I got some 1/4-inch threaded rod here that I'm going to use to imitate a fishing pole. So, to get started, we'll start with the slip float. And I don't know if you can see this, but just to show, it works like a zip tie, but it's got this release button here, and you push it in and it lets it come back out. Show you again. Take it all the way in and you push it in and it lets it come back out. Infinitely reusable, very sleek, not gonna hurt your gear. It's not gonna take the paint off your floats here. Not gonna tear them up. It's not gonna damage your $200 rods. If you got a Penn Carnage 2 or something similar in price, you don't have to worry about scuffing it up. Peg floats are, I mean, they're peg floats, but you know, it's not gonna pinch them and smash them all up. And it's got enough snug to where it holds things down really good, but it's not like taking a metal hose clamp and screwing down it real hard on it. So this is the most optimal thing that I've found. I have found other methods like gear ties. I'm sure some of you heard of it. Looks like a big twist tie that you put on a loaf of bread, but it's like maybe 3/16 of an inch thick or so on the smaller ones, and it works like the things you put on your loaf of bread. They work really good, but they were super expensive, and so were the Velcro cable tie straps. It works through, it operates like a zip tie too, but it's a Velcro. It's Velcro strap. Those worked excellent too, but they were kind of bulky, and they were almost just as expensive as the gear ties. So this was my cheap ultimatum. I didn't have thousands of dollars to dump on thousands of gear ties or Velcro straps. So these were a little more cost efficient for me. And I think these would be more durable too out of the other ones, because just because they're a hard nylon, they'll handle the elements really good as far as rocks and stumps, and say a turtle bites into your rod while you're asleep, I don't know, but they're real durable. They're not gonna take a beating. And the first test ones I ordered were 12 inches. I sized them down to 5 inches because I thought 12 was just a little too much. I mean, of course you're gonna cut them down, because if you realistically use, say your pole's the size of my pinky, and you don't want all that hanging there, you can cut it down, which is fine. But even if you don't want to cut it down, you ain't got way out here sticking out in the air, you know what I mean? So without further ado, we'll get started. I'll use this hyper green light, and we'll pretend I already got this on a fishing line, because I mean, I guess if you wanted to, you could do it ahead of time and put it on there. But if you got your line on, that's not going to work. So you start by wrapping it around and get your first couple clicks in. Stick your light up in there, and then just cinch it down tight as you want to get it. That's about as tight as I can get it, and it'll hold it on there. No more needing to sit there with tape and taping it on like I showed in my first video. You could mount it up here, you can mount it down here, wherever you want to put it. I feel it's best to have it right at the base of right here at this heat shrink base, just because I think that's where it's the hardest at. You got the bulb down there, you got all the sealant in there that's hardened up, and it'll take a lot of the damage. I mean, you can put it here on the tube. My tubes are really super tough. They're dual layered tubes, but I feel this is the strongest focal point to have them. But to each their own. So you put it on there, and it'll hold it. And I mean, I can't even twist it. It's on there good. So when you go to got it hanging back there on your rod, you go to whip it out there, it's not gonna come off. It's on there pretty good, and it's not gonna go up and down either. The only way these are gonna fall off, I guarantee you, is if you put it on too loose. So make sure you put it on tight. And it doesn't matter how tight you get them because of the release button. No more cutting zip ties off. All you got to do is push that button down and it pops loose. And then you can back it off. And then you can take your light out, pull it off the rest of the way. Simple as that. I feel like Billy Mays here. Next one, peg float. Now my idea behind the peg float, I don't know if somebody's tried this or not, is you know those lights that they hang off of boats when they're night fishing for crappie or muskie or whatever, pike. Some people might do it for catfish, I don't know. But it attracts all those minnows and other small bait fish in at night because they come towards the light. Same concept. If you got this peg float out there on a Santee Cooper rig, I would assume that that light down there, if you're fishing at night or even in real muddy water, would help attract smaller fish in, and that will attract the predator fish. So you would do this the same way. Get it started. Get your light in there. Cinch it down. That sucker's on there under the water. Completely under the water. Now remember, I said in my first video, these things can be submerged. For people in other parts of the country, that these aren't very well known. They're really well known around here. We use them underwater all the time. But these will go underwater. And if I have my, yeah, this is my corroded light from the water bottle test. I doubt it'll show up. Man, my light sucks. But that's my corroded battery. Same one from the water bottle test all those weeks ago. All I did was dry it off with my shirt. And then I blew the air out, made sure there was no moisture left in there, no droplets of water. And it still works. Some of the pin corroded that was exposed and broke away, but it still lights up if I don't put the battery in backwards. That's after 100 hours of light underwater. This is a new battery and a new light, and this is 96 hours in 4 days without being taken out of the water. So you can safely put these under the water. Now, do you see the corrosion line? I think I showed this in my first video. That line right there is the only part that corroded, and it was the part that was exposed to the elements. All the battery that was up inside the boot is clean as a whistle, and I was even able to get some of the rust to rub off. So these little CR2032 batteries work really, really good. And the pins held up really, really good too. For some reason, the positive just took a little more damage than the negative. But even down inside there, the pin that wasn't exposed is still solid and clean as new. So it still works. Same battery. That's after a couple weeks of not being in. Sat in the water for 4 days, and then pretend it sat in your tackle box for 3 weeks after you dried it out. Still works. Now, if you let the water sit in there, and you just take this out like this and throw it in your tackle box, you probably won't get that same result. So I recommend drying everything out. Even if you, especially with these, it was a hassle to do when I had tape, but if you're fishing with a float and you whip it out there in the water, and say an hour and a half later you check your bait and you bring your line in, take it off, dry it out real quick, and then put it back together and throw it back out there. what's 30 seconds to save you an extra day or two on your light? You know what I'm saying? You get your money's worth that way. So that's how that would sit on a peg float. Sorry, I got off on a tangent. I can talk a lot sometimes. Fishing rod. This is the one everybody's had questions about. And at first I didn't know the answer until I ended up speaking to Chris Flores on the phone for, I think, about an hour. And I was talking to him about this, and this was his idea, so credits to him for giving me the idea to come up with these things. But he basically said, well, why don't you try to find something that you could pack with the light to put the lights on rods, or however people want to use them. That way they don't have to worry about going and buying tape or zip ties or whatever they want to use. It'll already be in the bag with it, and you eliminate that inconvenience. And I think that is a huge, great idea, so thank you for that, Chris. If you guys don't know Chris Flores, go check out his channel, Muddy River Catfishing. I'm sure everybody who's watching this has heard of him. But that was the idea from him to me about these, and it's not just a convenience thing to me, it's more of something that you can use over and over and over again. If you can use the light over and over and over again, why not use something to go with it to put it on just as many times? And you don't want to walk, I know some people will walk great distances from a main road, quarter mile, half a mile, or they'll take half a day hike to get to a water hole where man doesn't exist and they catch awesome fish all the time. You don't want to walk all that way and then forget your tape or whatever in the truck, or you forgot it at home. Unless you actually forget the light, you're not going to be without. It'll be in the bag with the light. So I think that's really cool about these. And every single one of these lights will come with a battery and a tie. And pack like this. So that's what you're getting for $5, and that's the convenience you're getting for $5, and that's the durability you're getting for $5, versus other people who sell one of these and just a battery. And I mean, I can't claim that they last as long as mine. I haven't tested it. I just know how long mine lasts, and I know the durability of them because I make them. So back to the rod. Everybody was asking me how to put them on a rod for the longest time, and I didn't know. I didn't know what to tell you guys at first. I thought maybe take some Teflon tape, wrap it around, and then use the electric tape, because that's all we ever used up here. Now you got a solution. So you would feed this behind your main line, between your main line and your pole, so it doesn't interfere with your main line. Get it started. Cinch it down. And now, brother, you are good to go. Or sister. That sucker is on there. If your main line light's on this side of the pole, if your main line's over here, you got maybe a 32nd of an inch or so between your pole, and it's nowhere near your line. So your line is not going to be interfered by this. It's not going to nick it. It's not going to fray your braid. It's not going to hurt your line whatsoever. It's not going to scuff up or scar your rod. Just to show the force, fighting a fish, it's pulling real hard. See that sucker bend down. I mean, you see it from pretty far away. And just to show, let's imitate a cast here. This thing's all bent up. I mean, it's not gonna fly off. I mean, I can bear it. All you can really do is rotate it around the pole. You're not gonna lose it. So that's how these work. I'm almost out of time here. I got a 15-minute limit because I screwed up my YouTube. But that's how these lights work, and they come right off. Just push a button. They pop out, and off they go. So hit it up on Facebook. Tell me what you guys think. If you're watching YouTube, go check it out on Facebook. Chris Flores. Thanks, man, for the idea. We'll catch you guys later.